Welcome to another episode of In Your Business. Today's kind of a special day because as we're recording in studio, it's IU Day. And as we celebrate IU Day, it's a pleasure for me to have two entrepreneurs with me. These entrepreneurs are with me often, and it's because they're also students. So they're students here at the university, and they're student entrepreneurs. So by day, they're in the classes, but then in their free time, oddly enough, they're on the basketball court. When they're not on the basketball court, then they're doing business. And so I'm not sure which they prefer, but we're about to find that out as we get to know these two entrepreneurs and discover what they've gone through to start their businesses, where they have their businesses, and where they hope to take them. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Yep, thanks for
Glad to be here.
Well, it's my pleasure to share your story, get to know you a little bit better maybe, and let others have the opportunity to get to know you. So Colt Meyer. Colt, you're from?
Batesville, Indiana.
Okay. Kobe Ward.
From Danville, Indiana.
So each of you, your commute's about an hour, hour and a half?
Yep, just a little bit over an hour.
And Kobe?
Yeah. Mine's a little closer to 2 hours, hour and 45.
Okay, yeah. So you come the distance to be with us.
Yes, yes I have.
We appreciate that, and I hope it's worth it.
Yeah, I hope so. Should be a good time.
All right, so what I like to do, guys, is I want to get to know you as individuals before we get to know about your business. Now, it's interesting because each of you have a business, and today I'm not dedicating 30 minutes to each of your businesses. We're sharing it, okay? So we'll do the best we can to get to know each of your businesses as well as we can. So, Colt, when you were just a young child, maybe third grade, what did you want to do?
Well, when I was growing up, I was kind of like a normal kid, just wanted to be an NBA star. I played basketball all my life, and I just wanted to play in the NBA. That was my dream growing up.
And Kobe, do you want to share with us what were you thinking when you were just a little guy?
Well, much like Cole, I actually want to be an NBA as well. I'm actually named after Kobe Bryant. Do you know who that is? You're familiar?
I personally do not, but you know that because you know I don't know sports that well, so thank you.
No, yeah, I've always dreamed of being an NBA, and then once I got to high school, I kind of realized that wasn't where I was going to end up. So.
Why?
I don't know. I wasn't quite at the level I needed to be to, get to that level.
So instead of taking it up the notch to the next level, you let it go?
Not exactly. I mean, I'm still with it. I'm playing in college, but it just didn't quite end up how I envisioned
Maybe the
it,
NBA's not on the circuit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I get it. I'm happy about that because that means you get to share the time with me in entrepreneurship, and it means that you're going to have a future as an entrepreneur, I hope. So each of you are studying what? What is your degrees?
I will have 2 degrees, one in business administration and the other in accounting.
Okay.
And I graduate this May.
So by the time this is airing, because this is going to be the May episode, you will become a college graduate.
Yep.
How's that feel?
Feels awesome. I'm ready to be done, start working.
Well, I'll be honest and tell you that I met you your first year. You were in my econ class, and it does feel pretty awesome.
Yes.
To watch you grow from that, because I remember that first class. I remember your personality, the outgoingness, and you've represented us well. And on the basketball court, there's something special about you. You score the points.
Yeah. Yep, I try.
and so I don't know what our average player scores, but maybe 12 points. But what's your high score in a game?
My high scoring is 39 points against Brescia this last season.
So you have it down to the hour and the date.
No, I don't, actually.
But you had 39 points in one game, and that's excellent. So, Kobe, you also represent us on the basketball court. And so what's the highlight of that?
Highlight of that? I'd say just hang out with my friends and playing basketball, honestly. I don't score quite as much as Colt does, but I definitely have fun doing it. So.
Well, I think that's the key, and I think you've heard me say that many times, whether you're on the basketball court or whether you're in the classroom, whether you're just on campus, whatever it is you're doing, I think the key to success is having fun. Yeah. And I hope each of you are having fun. And I hope you have fun in the classroom as well as playing basketball. Yeah. And it's not been easy, I know that, because you've heard me say many times, whether we're working with the CEO program or whether we're working with class, that we got to set priorities. Yeah. And a lot of times you hear me coming on the priorities and saying, now wait a minute, I know where basketball's at, I know where family's at, I know where work is at, I know where all those things are at. Where are we at here with this program? But it changes. And I realize trying to balance a schedule like you have, it's got to be difficult. We've had some online classes as well as face-to-face classes, and just trying to balance it all.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not. There's definitely a lot of time going into basketball and all your studies and stuff.
So it's like having a full-time job, I think,
Yes.
and,
Yes,
or
it
multiple jobs, actually.
Yeah, multiple full-time jobs.
So in addition, each of you are CEOs here at the university. We have a program called CEOs, which is Cash Equals Opportunities. And it's won several awards now, and each of you recently helped us win another award. So tell us just a bit about the CEOs and your involvement.
So I recently just joined this year, actually. Colt, I think, has been a member for 2 years now.
Yeah, a couple
right?
of years. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just teach financial literacy within the community and the school. And since I've been a part of it, it's been a great experience. So.
Yeah, we just recently went to New Orleans and won the Best Presentation Award. We were presenting about kind of what we do. So yeah, it's been a good experience.
And you know, it's funny how things happen, and you probably think, oh, well, professors don't pay attention, but I pay a lot of attention. And one of the first things that happened in the econ was you discussed how you make deviled eggs. And you yet to bring any of those, and your family has said he doesn't. But you have a cookbook.
Yeah, so was it my first year here?
It was.
We made a cookbook, and it was called Learning the Basics, and it was basically a no-bake cookbook. It had all the ingredients, and we implemented financial literacy in it by putting a list of the ingredients and how much each ingredient costs. So that was pretty cool, and we didn't implement we didn't take into consideration the inflation, how much inflation would cause an increase in the prices. So the prices were a little bit different than they are now, but.
So it turns out pretty nice because you created the cookbook, the recipes are great, each recipe has a finance side of it so we know what's going to cost. However, it's outdated now because of inflation. We've had a heavy inflation over the last 2 years, and that opens up a project for the next group of students coming through.
Yes, yes it does.
And so thanks for setting that pace for us. We spend this time and talk about this because it's entrepreneurial, okay? Whether you're writing a book and you have your book, whether you're doing basketball, at some point you might even be given some camps and trainings for basketball. Those become entrepreneurial. Everything and anything that we do, we can usually bring back to entrepreneurship. We've got to find what we're passionate about, what we really enjoy. Each of you are in a class right now where you're writing a business plan for entrepreneurship. And what is your plan for?
Oh, in that class specifically?
Yes.
My business plan is actually for an antique resale business and furniture resale. You actually gave me the idea earlier this fall. I don't know if you remember.
I do remember.
Yeah, but yeah. What's your business in that class? I forget.
Mine is a travel vlog, kind of. So I'll be, I'll be posting some stuff on social media about kind of the places I visit and what stuff I've done and what I would recommend doing. Just kind of like content creation like that on all different platforms.
Okay, so I found it very interesting because each of you had started your business before you started the course. And then you're allowed to write your business plan on whatever you choose. And neither of you have chosen to write your business plan on your current business. And I found that interesting.
Yeah.
And so now I think it's only fair to let our audience, studio audience as well as viewing audience, know a little more about your business.
Yeah.
And so, Kobe, I'm gonna jump right in with you. And if I get the names wrong, forgive me and correct it, okay?
Okay.
But it's Ward Waste.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, we're along Ward Site and Construction Services.
So why don't you share with us a little bit about that? What do you do?
So it's a waste management company. So we do dumpster rentals, porta potty rentals, junk removal, all that kind of stuff, pressure washing. And so we contact local companies that are in need of our services. Like recently we were working on a hotel rebuild in Muncie,
Okay.
if you're familiar. They need some dumpsters from us, so we're contracting that out. And then junk removal, we go to nearby like apartment complexes and we'll take the bulk furniture outside by the dumpsters that they no longer need, and they can charge the tenants and also pay us to take it. So it works for both parties in that perspective.
So you're like a third-party provider, kind of.
Yeah.
So you don't own the porta pots, you don't own the dumpsters, is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
So you have affiliations with these companies that own those.
Actually, we do own a few dumpsters,
Okay.
but for some of the bigger projects, we do have to subcontract it out.
So you're subcontracting, so you've got vendors that you're working
Yes.
with,
Mhm.
and then customers contact you, and it sounds like you also contact them. So you're doing some cold call selling out there as well, is that correct?
Yep. And a lot of the billing, that can get kind of tricky. Because like you said, we take the upfront cost of the purchase, and they kind of pay us at a later date, which makes it really convenient for them.
Okay. So you're paying to rent these dumpsters and
Yes.
such, and then you're selling them, if you will. You're leasing them back out to
Exactly.
somebody else.
And we take care of all the fees and everything, so it's just one, upfront cost for them. And they like that; it's real clean cut. So.
Okay. So oftentimes in entrepreneurship, we talk about partnerships, we talk about sole proprietor, we talk about LLC, and you chose what type of ownership?
Partnership.
So you are a partnership. You have how many partners?
Just one other. It's my high school buddy. So
Okay.
we're
so-
actually neighbors, growing up together. So.
Okay, so this is a childhood friend,
Mm-hmm.
and you wound up being partners, and you're the majority partners, correct?
Mm-hmm. And there's a reason behind that.
Okay.
So, in the future, we hope to apply for our MBE, minority-owned business or enterprise. Are you familiar with that?
I am. Yeah.
Yes. So, by me being a 51% owner, we can apply for that benefit down the
Okay.
line.
Okay. But it's also great to be the president, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah,
So do you use that title?
I do use that title.
Okay. So, Colt, I know you're just sitting here thinking, oh, I got to talk about my business. So, so yours is Southeast. Is it power wash or pressure wash?
Pressure wash. It's Southeast Indiana pressure wash.
Okay.
So a lot of people get pressure and power wash mixed up. So pressure wash is just using cold water and pressure to wash a surface. But power washing is using heated water. So you got to get a completely different system for that, and it's a lot more expensive.
Okay.
So
So it's kind of interesting, though, that you say a lot of people get them confused because, Colt, I've been beside you as you started this business, okay? And I believe you had to make a change, right?
yes, so I did start out as Southeast Indiana Power Wash, and then I realized that I wasn't power washing any surfaces because I didn't have a power washer. So I changed that to pressure wash real quick.
Okay, so you also learned just as
Yes.
others learned.
Yes, I
okay?
did.
So now that you've learned, you can teach others before they make the same mistake?
Yes, correct. Yep.
All right. So the other thing I find fascinating is because I do get to know you well as students, I get to know you well as athletes, try to be at as many things as I can. So I also get to know your families, okay? And yours is a sole proprietor or,
Mine is a single member LLC.
okay, but it's kind of a family business.
Yes, so I used my dad's truck, and I started off with his pressure washer, so I didn't really have any upfront expenses. But I've soon moved on to buy some stuff, buy a new pressure washer, buy a soft wash system. So there's definitely some expenses to it, but I definitely started out pretty low on expenses.
So as you started, the revenue started coming in. I think you probably maybe broke your father's
Yes.
machine.
Yes, I did.
And so you purchased a new one and probably maybe even a better grade one?
Yes, it is a commercial grade one, so it was pretty pricey.
Okay. And I guess the good part of that is maybe you would allow your father to use the nice one now.
Yes. Well, actually, I just recently washed his house. The house I live in, I washed it for free, so I
So-
feel like he got the better end of the deal on that one.
Right, because he no longer has to use it because you use it for him.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. So is it exciting owning your own business, Kobe?
It is. It is.
Why?
It's like an event. It's almost like a game, I guess. It's really different. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't know. You just want to keep unlocking new doors and different things and make it grow. It's really like a game. Is the best way to describe it.
And how about yourself? What do you think?
Yes, I love running a business. There's a lot of time you got to put into it, but I mean, it's fun. It's good to see something you start out and then see it grow.
It is really something that's hard to explain because a lot of people, when they think entrepreneurship, they think having their own business. Honestly, they start thinking money. They start thinking, I'm going to make all this money, have all this money. But you guys haven't mentioned money. And when I speak of entrepreneurship, I seldom do. I don't like greed. Okay, that's just not in my vocabulary, so I just don't care for it. But the best part of entrepreneurship that I find, and I think each of you are defining here, is the fact that you bring something to the market. You bring your product, okay? And none of us are going to bring the same product. Each of us have different ideas. And when somebody supports it, somebody buys it, somebody wants it, what a feeling. It's a great feeling, okay?
Yes.
And you may not realize it. Kobe, I haven't been beside you as you opened yours, but I was with Colt. And we were traveling, I recall. And we were in New York.
Yep.
And we were at the airport with a couple hours to kill as we were waiting on our flight. And you were working.
Yep. Yep. I was sitting in the airport. I was becoming an LLC at that time. And I was asking you tons of questions about
You were.
how I should do it.
You were, and I thought, come on, we're traveling, we're off campus now, but I still needed to be there for you.
Yeah.
And it was actually a real thrill for me because that's what I do, okay? In the classroom, it's one thing. Outside the classroom, it's another. And outside the classroom, I think, is even more important because it's how we apply what we learn in the classroom. And that day in the airport, you were applying it, okay? You were on the state site, and you were trying to get, your official numbers and get everything going. And it worked. You did.
Yep. I wanted to get started right after I got off the airport.
Yeah. It's funny, though, because Kobe, you might have experienced the same thing as Colt did. But I remember all that process, okay? And it's what you do.
Yeah.
You've got to do it. You've got to get registered. You've got to become legal. And you oftentimes hear me talk about that. And one of the most important things, and I don't think Colt liked it, but one of the first things he had to do before he did the first job, do you recall?
Insurance. Yep. Got to buy insurance.
So it's, there's a liability involved, and you don't want to risk anything.
Exactly.
And in your businesses, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
And so it's best to have that protection. I hope you never use it, but it's great to have it. Okay.
Yes, definitely is.
But I think it's interesting is soon after we returned from that trip and you started, within, I'm going to say 30 days, but it probably happened in 3. The environment we're in today, with social media and all, is one of the best times. Okay, you can promote, and it's relatively inexpensive to do so. You can get a lot of views. You can get a lot of people knowing your story, sharing your story, and it's amazing. However, you started getting a lot of solicitations of things you needed and had to do, and they looked so real. Okay, you got to buy this $175 poster that talks about all these things, and you were contacting me on a regular basis, and it's pretty fun. I mean, talk about that.
Yeah. So I was putting out yard signs and stuff like that just to get off my feet and just start running. But yeah, I mean, right now I use Facebook as advertising, so that's done me well. I've promoted myself on there, and I've seemed to get a lot of business from that.
Yeah, but I think it's fun too. In addition, though, the fact that once you start doing that, you get your name out. Then all of a sudden, these other companies get your name. They get your contact information. They make it sound like you have to do things with them, and then you think you have to subscribe to their services.
Yeah.
When the truth is, it looks legal, it looks real, but it's not.
Yeah.
And there was days when you would contact me, and I would tell you, and then I'd say, well, I think maybe you should talk to the SBDC and see what they say, because maybe I'm wrong. Things change, times change. And so luckily when you spoke with the SBDC, I think we were all on the same page.
Yeah.
And, Colt, I'm going to share the fact that you've been a part of the BOSS program for a couple years. The BOSS program is a program that I started 19 years ago, and it's business opportunities for self-starters. We teach entrepreneurship, typically to the youth. And you've assisted in that program for a couple years. You've had the opportunity to learn a lot about entrepreneurship in the program. You were able to meet with the SBDC, and the SBDC comes and speaks, and they offer some great services. So talk about that just a bit.
So I went to the SBDC and I kind of got in touch with one of the guys, and he helped me kind of get off my feet and just kind of reiterated the things I needed to get, like insurance, become an LLC, and the BOSS program was really cool because I got to talk and see a bunch of entrepreneurs and hear their stories and how they started and stuff. So that was a really good experience for me, and it definitely shaped how I've learned entrepreneurship this far.
Sure. And I think it's interesting because, 20 years ago when I started the Center for Entrepreneurship here on campus, we had expectations, but what I continued to say was you're going to have to give us time because these are students, and it's going to take years before we actually see the results of the entrepreneurship. Today, we have so many entrepreneurs in this community that have come from here at Indiana University East, and I think it's awesome, okay? And I look forward to 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, hearing your stories and watching the change in entrepreneurship and how that goes. But Colby, you have a great story. It just released recently in print.
Yes.
And it was an experience that we had during the Chancellor's installation recently. So why don't you share that?
So during the Chancellor's installation, you introduced me to Brian. I don't know how to say his last name.
Ballinger. Yep.
Yeah, anyway. So, he exchanged his card. He was talking to me in Colt, and he said that I could contact him whenever and we could talk, entrepreneurship. At the time, I didn't realize is that he owns a construction business. So how that's beneficial for me is we could actually do some kind of partnership together. But at the time, I didn't think of it in that way. I thought we were just going to maybe, talk, and he'd give me some life advice. But I ended up going to his office and actually making a partnership out of it and sold him some dumpsters.
Okay. So how does that feel?
That was pretty cool because, I pretty much did the whole thing, start to finish, and I met with him. It was my first kind of big sell, so I thought that was pretty cool.
And Kobe, I have to ask, and I mean, as people watch this that know you and such, and I've enjoyed some time with your family as well, and they shared with me that you're not a real big talker.
No.
That even as a child, they would take you to the bank, and the tellers thought you were cute. And they would give you suckers, but you wouldn't talk to them. That seems to be changing.
I'm hoping so. I guess you can tell me after this interview, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you recently spoke at a conference. You won a Best Presentation Award. So I mean, I think we're seeing evidence of that. So times change, people change, and you're changing.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that's helped me become a better entrepreneur as well. Because a lot of what I have to do is talk to people. So.
So. You spoke of the fact that you're writing your business plan, that I gave you the idea. I didn't truly. The two of you have been together for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You play basketball together, you take your classes together, you explore entrepreneurship together. You guys came to me and asked me how I felt about, trash is what you came in and opened a conversation. And I thought, what is wrong with these guys?
Yeah.
You thought you were going to go to a dorm and collect trash?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, there's no market here, folks, okay? But at the same time, you believed in it, and I tried to support it. And as we talked and such, we wound up on a Sunday going to an antique store and understanding the process that it's not quite the same, but it is, in the fact that oftentimes estate sales, people need to clean out property and such. They have somebody else's treasures, and they need to liquidate that.
Yeah.
And so we talked about booth rental at the antique store. We also talked about how you can make a market out of it. And that's what you're writing your business plan on.
Yeah.
So being open to ideas, that's what entrepreneurship's about.
Yes. We even revamped that idea with my other company, Ward Waste, that we could use, refound treasures from that.
Yeah?
And resell
So
them.
give us an example.
So like the other day, we went to a lady's house and removed some items, and some of those could have been of value to the resale business.
Sure.
Such as an old couch or table,
And there's nothing wrong with that, because what happens is you've got to be able to figure out a repurpose, restore, and entrepreneurs, you're putting your time into it, you're taking the risk, you deserve the reward.
Exactly. And it's interesting, me and my business partner, we've actually talked about maybe trying to start reselling some of this stuff. That's good. That's from inside of somebody's house. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's not, because if you don't redo that, then you're going to just go to a landfill probably with
Exactly.
it. This way you avoid the landfill and it goes into somebody's living room.
Yep.
So I
For
think it's
a cheaper
great.
price, because a lot of it's, you know, almost like new. So
Yeah, so you're saving money for people.
exactly.
So, you know, we're getting towards the end of the show, and one thing I have got to ask you guys is, what do you think is the reward? Why are you so excited about entrepreneurship?
For me, it's the freedom. You know, you're never working, but you're always working. Like it's 10 o'clock at night, and an idea pops in my head, or something I forgot to do, and I gotta do it. But middle of the day, everyone's working. I'm not necessarily, you know, stuck to a location or the computer working. So that part of it is what I like about it. But,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like doing my own thing and scheduling my own times and stuff. So like I would have a slot at 9 a.m. and then I'd go get lunch, and then I'd have a slot at 1 p.m. and then work till whenever. And then he's got the same idea. Like
Yeah.
I'll be sitting there at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, like, remember, oh, I need to do this. So then I go down to the barn and fix this or do whatever. And it's just kind of like, it's mine. Like, it's mine to have. So it's kind of cool to do that.
Yeah, I find it fascinating and interesting, and I'm going to have a smile on my face from a standpoint that you said I'm going to go down to the barn. And it's fun for me as I watch you as an entrepreneur. You're taking that truck out, you're bringing your equipment, you're doing a professional delivery, okay? Your job is awesome. And then I think about that barn. I think that's still your parents.
Yeah, yep. It's my parents' barn.
But professionally, it's your barn, and it's part of the company, it's a part of the
Yep.
business. So I think it's interesting you talk about the hours, because as entrepreneurs, we don't realize how many hours we truly put into it. But you know what? Even people who are working jobs for somebody else, they're putting in those hours. They're always thinking about their ideas.
Yeah.
And so it's not like work.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you might be working a lot of. How many hours do you think you work a week on your business?
I mean, my girlfriend's always yelling at me because I'm always on my phone, you know, talking to my other business partners. So
It's
always.
endless.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
endless.
And what about yourself?
Yep, same way. I mean, I have jobs usually 2 to 3 a day, and then after that I'm writing down my expenses and keeping my own books. So, I mean, it's a lot of hours, but it's fun. I like it.
And I think it's very interesting on campus, because oftentimes now we are to a point where you guys are taking calls. Okay, you are on the phone. And a lot of times I want to do something, and you look at me and you're like, it's business. Okay? And you're thinking, well, that's justification, all right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, I can't get upset, because that's what I want each of us to learn and grow into is entrepreneurship. Guys, thanks for doing a great job. Appreciate what you're doing. Proud of you, and you couldn't do better.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
All right. This concludes another episode of In Your Business. Today I had the pleasure of meeting with two of the students that I see every day, but I see them as students, and now I'm seeing them as entrepreneurs. Oftentimes on this campus, somebody will say, the kids in your class. I have no kids in my class. What I have is developing professionals. Today you met two of them, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Thanks again for watching In Your Business.